जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवारधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवारधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय प्रभुपदा 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 श्रील प्रभुपदा जय श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय प्रभुपाद की जय जय गौर प्रेमानंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda So we're reading from Adi Leela, chapter 2, text 90 and 91. 91 is on the board, but we are reading from 90 to 92. So let's read together. Let me first read text 90. Taicha Sabha Avatarera Krishna se Karana Ara Ek Shloka Shune Kuvyakya Khandana. Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. So this we'll do together. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantareshanu katha niruddha muktirashraya. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya Manvantarishanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantarishanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya Atra Sarva Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantarashanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya
Atra sargo visargascha sthanam pasanamutaya manvantare sanukata nirodha muktirashraya
Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya Manvantare sanukata Nirodho muktir asraya
Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantare sanukatha nirodha muktirashraya Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya manvantare sanukatha Atra sarva visargascha sthanam poshanam utaya
Atra Sarva Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya
manvantara sanukata nirodhe muktirashraya
Manvantarashanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya. The next verse is Dasamasya Vishuddhyartham Navanamiha Lakshanam Varnayanti Mahatmana Shrutenarthana Chanjasa. So we'll do the word for word. Atra in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sarga, the creation of the ingredients of the universe. Visarga, the creations of Brahma. Cha, and Sthanam, the maintenance of creation. Poshanam, the favoring of the Lord's devotees. Utaya, impetuses for activity. Manu Antara, prescribed duties given by the Manus. Isha Anukatha, a description of the incarnations of the Lord. Nirodha, the winding up of creation. Mukti, liberation. Ashraya, the ultimate shelter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dashamasya, of the 10th, the Ashraya. Vishuddhi Artham, for the purpose of perfect knowledge. Navana, of the 9. Iha, here. Lakshanam, the nature. Varnayanti, describe. Atmana, the great souls. Shrutena, by prayer. Arthena, by explanation. Cha, and. Anjasa, direct. So the translation, you can repeat after me. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. 1. The creation of the ingredients of the cosmos. 2. The creations of Brahma. 3. The maintenance of the creation. 4. Special favor given to the faithful. 5. Impetuses for activity. 6. Prescribed duties for law-abiding men. 7. A description of the incarnations of the Lord. 8. The winding up of the creation. 9. Liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10. The ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Mahajanas have described these 9 directly or indirectly through prayers or direct explanations. That's it. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. 1, the creation of the ingredients of the cosmos. 2, the creations of Brahma. 3, the maintenance of the creation. 4, special favor given to the faithful. 5, impetuses for activity. 6, prescribed duties for law-abiding men. 7, a description of the incarnations of the Lord. 8. The winding up of the creation. 9. Liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10. The ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Mahajanas have described these 9 directly or indirectly through prayers or direct explanations. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. These verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, they are from the 2nd canto, chapter 10, verses 1 and 2, list the 10 subject matters dealt within the text of the Bhagavatam. Of these, the 10th is the substance, and the other 9 are categories derived from the substance. These 10 subjects are listed as follows. 1. Sarga. Sarga means the first creation by Vishnu, the bringing forth of the 5 gross material elements, the 5 objects of sense perception, the 10 senses, the mind, the intelligence, the false ego, and the total material energy or universal form. 2. Visarga, the secondary creation or the work of Brahma in producing the moving and unmoving bodies in the universe, Brahmanda. 3. Sthan, the maintenance of the universe by the personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Vishnu's function is more important and his glory greater than Brahma's and Lord Shiva's. For although Brahma is the creator and Lord Shiva the destroyer, Vishnu is the maintainer. 4. Poshana. Special care and protection for devotees by the Lord, as a king maintains his kingdom and subjects, but nevertheless gives special attention to the members of his family. So the personality of Godhead gives special care to his devotees who are souls completely surrendered to him. 5. Uti, the urge for creation or initiative power, that is the cause of all inventions, according to the necessities of time, space, and objects. 6. Manvanta, the periods controlled by the Manus who teach regulative principles for living beings who desire to achieve perfection in human life. The rules of Manu, as described in the Manu Samhita, guide the way to such perfection. 7. Ishanu Katha, scriptural information regarding the personality of Godhead, his incarnations on earth and the activities of his devotees. His incarnations on earth and the activities of his devotees. Scriptures dealing with these subjects are essential for progressive human life. Nirodha, that is number 8. The winding up of all energies employed in creation. Such potencies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, who eternally lies in the Karana ocean. The cosmic creations, manifested with his breath, are again dissolved in due course. 9. Mukti, liberation of the conditioned souls encaged by the gross and subtle coverings of body and mind. When freed from all material affection, the soul, giving up the gross and subtle material bodies, can attain the spiritual sky in his original spiritual body and engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord in Vaikuntha Lok or Krishna Lok. When the soul is situated in his original constitutional position of existence, he is said to be liberated. It is possible to engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord and become Jivan Mukta, a liberated soul, even while in the material body. Number 10, Ashray, the transcendence, the Samambonam, from whom everything emanates, upon whom everything rests, and in whom everything merges after annihilation. He is the source of and support of all. The Ashray is also called the Supreme Brahman, as in the Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Gyasa Janmadhyasya Yatha. Srimad Bhagavatam especially describes this Supreme Brahman as the Ashray. Shri Krishna is this Ashray, And therefore, the greatest necessity of life is to study the science of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam accepts Sri Krishna as the shelter of all manifestations because Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate source of everything, the supreme goal of all. Two different principles are to be considered herein, namely ashray, the object providing shelter, and ashrita, the dependence requiring shelter. The ashrita exists under the original principle, the ashray. The first 9 categories described in the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, from creation to liberation, including the Purusha avatars, the incarnations, the marginal energy or living entities, and the external energy or material world, are all ashrita. The prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, however, aim for the ashray tattva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The great souls, expert in describing Srimad Bhagavatam, have very diligently delineated the other 9 categories, sometimes by direct narrations and sometimes by indirect narrations, such as stories. The real purpose of doing this is to know perfectly the absolute transcendence, Sri Krishna, for the entire creation, both material and spiritual, rests on the body of Sri Krishna. So, for who is that a big news? Was it a big news that everything rests on Sri Krishna? Not so much for us. But it is important to understand the dimension which is presented here, the ashray and the ashrita. So the ashrita, that is us, but not only us. What else? What is the ashrita?
All living entities. Is that what you mean?
All living entities. Looking for shelter. Actually, it's not that you take up and to look for shelter. It's a pushing, it's a pulling, it's a pushing from inside us, from the moment that we take existence, we feel a pull, a push towards this ashray. And that's why we are continuing to explore this material nature. First we take shelter in the material nature. We take shelter with our parents. We take shelter with food. We take shelter of our studies. What other shelters do we know? Money.
Income, yes.
Yes, that's a very big competition for in this world. Money is usually the shelter, and we are trained as soon as we can start thinking to understand that that money has a big sheltering capacity. So money is a very important aspect that we take shelter of.
Law.
The law, we take shelter of the law, rules, regulations, family relationships, status, position. Our beauty, our health, our medicines, you name it. There is a lot. We can continue the whole class. We can continue just naming the so-called ashrays. But here it is clearly stated there is only one ashray. And what is the one ashray that is mentioned here? Sri Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yeah, we know that. But have we experienced that? To what extent are we experiencing that really Krishna is our ashraya? It's not so easy actually, because we hear it many times, and Krishna will take care of this and that. And when there is a certain situation, like there are now so many wars going on, so many horrible stories you can hear, see, experience from people about these wars. And then we ask the question, why is Krishna creating this? Krishna, why did you create this? Isn't it? It's a logical question, you could say. So, what is the ashraya there? Do we take shelter in our understanding how the world should be, in the rules, regulations, the concept of the world that we have created? That should be our ashraya. That is one question to ask. Another question is, Krishna, how can I understand your love and your kindness and your compassion, which you are the personification of? How can I understand it even in such a situation? So which question brings you closer to this ashraya? I'm sorry? Of course, yeah. It's the second one. But it takes actually understanding that we shouldn't put Krishna on the stand and asking him to account for the misdeeds that are happening, because that is our main reaction. But that is the reaction from separation. We see ourselves separate from Krishna. So we are here experiencing this world, and Krishna is somewhere, and he created this because he is God. We understand that he's all-powerful, and we have heard many times, without his will, not even a leaf can move. So why did he create this? So in this situation, we create ourselves distant from Krishna, separate from Krishna. And what happens if we are separate from Krishna? Our mind gets controlled by the false ego. So even though we understand scripture, but to integrate that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, he knows what he's doing, still we ask, Krishna, why do you create wars? So these opportunities, these situations, like here is mentioned, that even the material nature, the external energy of Krishna is under his control, but is also looking for ashraya. So how can we position ourselves more in our Krishna consciousness, trying to Krishnaize our consciousness, integrate Krishna's maximum potency, Krishna's magnificent wisdom, magnificent wealth, magnificent power, magnificent, well, you name it, the six,
Fame, beauty.
and so on. How can we integrate it more and more and deeper in how we are perceiving the world, how we are seeing things happening, hearing things evolving, tasting, and so on? So, one thing is to, be mindful of what kind of questions we are asking. We have so many things to do. Oh, Krishna, I have this to do, that to do, how will I do it? Oh, this I did wrong. I made a whole lecture, prepared my lecture, I forgot it. It's not here. How stupid of me, you know. I did wrong. But that is one. How can I be so stupid? That is one question. The other question is, okay, Krishna, why did you organize things in such a way that I don't have it with me, even though I prepared it? So there is something exciting here to happen, which we are going to experience together. But first of all, the way we ask questions, are we holding Krishna accountable for what is going on in your life? You know, we have maybe some conflict with devotees, maybe some conflict with whatever relatives. Why is this happening? I'm such a good devotee, I'm chanting, I'm following the principles, you know, I'm doing bhakti for 20 plus years. Why am I in such a trouble? Or maybe the other question. And that is what will help us to go towards that movement, to flow with that movement of taking ashray. Because it's not a choice. It is a natural, like water is flowing. There are no drops of water that want to go the other side. You know, they're flowing. They're going. So we are going if we are in our higher consciousness, if we understand that we are part and parcel of Krishna and that Krishna is in charge and we have to take ashray, then we are flowing. But if you say, yeah, but this happened, that happened, and yeah, this is a problem. How can we solve this problem? Let's have a meeting. And, you know, that person is wrong. That person should be, you know, adjusting himself. Otherwise, you know, it will be a chaos. If that other person adjusts, then we will be happy. No, that's not the situation. We are always in our happiness. But if I look around, we are not so very much engulfed in our happiness, except for Benny. Very nice. We are Sat-Chit Ananda. From that perspective, do we experience how we are Sat? Do we experience how our eternality? It's difficult to understand eternality. We understand it, but to experience it, it's difficult. Because we have this body, and we have, you know, certain perspectives of things which are, you know, making us understand that we are separate from each other. So that eternality is difficult to experience. Chit. Chit means?
Full knowledge.
Full knowledge. Is it easy to experience that we are full knowledge, with full knowledge? Sometimes, yeah, people think that they have full knowledge, but then they become more fools than full knowledge, because that's... So these two, Sat-Chit, it's difficult to experience. Can we experience Ananda?
Yes, bliss. Bliss.
Bliss, happiness, excitement, joyfulness. So that's the only aspect that can help you to understand, hey, I am going more towards this Krishna consciousness. There is a saying, chant and be happy. Chant and be happy. So we have to try to be happy, be happy. And being happy at this moment, even at this moment, you can decide, I'm going to be happy. You can also decide, no, I'm going to walk with all my heaviness, all my burdens, because it's so important, these burdens. You don't know how it will affect people's lives, you know. Or you can just decide, well, I'm here, just like Arjun. Arjun was on the battlefield, and he was like, oh, this is such a big burden. I have to kill this person, and I have to, and this war will destroy my whole family, and so on, and so on. What did Krishna say in 1866? Yeah, just surrender them to me. It's my game. I have done it already. Everything is already done. It's done. It is done. But we have a small part to play in it, and we make it the biggest thing in our life. Why? Because we don't know how to be happy. Many people don't know how to be happy. Even I had a problem with that. A few years ago, I was, I had experienced quite some things, and then I thought, okay, now I will try to be happy. I was like, what is that happy? I just smiled. Is that happiness? What makes me happy? I don't know. What makes other people happy? Big car, big boat? I thought, is that happiness? Just having stuff, is that happiness? What would you think for, in general, what would be happiness? Inner happiness. Satisfaction from inside that that you mean something, maybe for others, but also for yourself. That you can contribute to something that feels, yes, it is what I'm contributing is received in a nice way. People become happy, so we share that happiness. If we give, people become happy. Hare Krishna. So we share that happiness. So for happiness, we need a reflection of that happiness, of our inner happiness. Because to be inner happy, it's difficult to understand. So that's why we need people, we need devotees, we need our surroundings. And sometimes, most of the time, we are not so happy with people around us. Most of the time, we focus on how they don't make us happy, and we focus on them, and that person should change, then I'm happy, So we give away our power, our inner happiness. Gopal Prabhu, he said one time in one of his classes, we give away our remote control. I think that is one of the famous talks that he's giving. We give away our remote control. We give it to someone else. And that person, he is maybe doing something, then it makes us sad. Doing something else, and we are angry. Doing something else, we become annoyed, frustrated. So, who is then our Ashraya at that moment? That relationship that is actually making us, programming us. But we want the main programmer, and the main programmer is Krishna. And Krishna will only program us to be happy. We are happy. Ananda, we are in bliss. But it's not so easy. First of all, to admit that we are full of bliss, because we don't want to look stupid. If you say, yeah, I'm in full-time bliss, I'm full-time devotee, full-time bliss. Even for yourself, you feel like, okay, this is not the reality, so it's just lip service. But do we feel it so? How do we integrate our nature that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and that we are in this flow to take the ashraya, to take shelter? So as long as we think ourselves not happy, not part and parcel of Krishna, we take shelter of all the other things we have just mentioned. And then we work hard, we get some money, and then the money goes to one tax and the other tax, and it still doesn't give us that happiness. So happiness is one way that we have as a tool to understand if we are separate of Krishna, acting separate of Krishna, or acting in accordance to his will. Because as soon as you understand Krishna is in charge, what happens? That heavy load becomes zero, becomes nothing, because it's not yours to carry. It was never yours to carry. When we leave this body, what do we take? Not even a speck of dust. Nothing, nothing. Your clothes, your house, your this, your that. Nothing. So these burdens are also not yours. In this verse is describing the cantos of Bhagavatam, the different cantos that are bringing us towards that ashray. First, it starts with explaining the material creation, the 5 elements. We know the 5 elements, isn't it? Earth, water, fire, ether, air, yes? And also the 5 senses, and so on. So Srimad Bhagavatam is bringing us towards a higher understanding of the material nature, the material energy. So why should we read Bhagavatam? If you have ever read the Bhagavad Gita, that is the word of God, and you want to know who is this God, well, if you have read the Bhagavad Gita, you say, okay, interesting things he is saying to Arjuna. Yeah, this makes sense. So who is this Krishna? Who is God? Who is Bhagavad Gita? Who is the Bhagavan? Then we come to Bhagavad Puran. The Bhagavad Puran explains about Bhagavan, explains who is God. So we have the word of God. God has spoken. He says many nice, wonderful, wise things. You get interested. Okay, who is this personality? Bhagavatam is dealing with that. Wow, this is interesting. So this is Bhagavan. Well, what is my relationship? And how can I have that loving relationship? Then we read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches us how to build this loving relationship, how to churn this love that Krishna has for us and we also have for him. But we don't know. So, when we understand that we are actually in this position of churning, and you know what happened in the Bhagavatam, there is a story of the Asurs and the Surs doing the churning. Yeah, and what comes first out? Poison. So when we start our bhakti, we start churning. So what comes out? Our anarthas. But then what happened when the poison was coming out? Shiva came? Yes, because the poison was kind of overwhelming the demons and the demigods. So Shiva came. The Vaishnava, the Supreme Vaishnava came. And he said, no problem. Poison? Okay. I'm under shelter of Krishna. Nothing will happen to me. So, as we are doing our bhakti, a lot of poison will come up. We will, experience things that we have never experienced before with other persons. We experience some conflicts. We experience some heaviness also in our own hearts. We experience many things. And then we need the mercy of the Vaishnava. Usually it's in the form of either Srila Prabhupada or the Guru Tattva, or of course the Devotees Association. And then comes what came after that. After that, the churning, the male, Lakshmi Devi, and so on, So while we are churning, you may have experienced, I think, most of you are devotees here doing this for many years. You have all experienced many beliefs that we have that are kind of, limiting our happiness to experience. Chant and be happy. Our happiness to experience while doing bhakti, So how do we take shelter? Do we take shelter like, yes, Guru Maharaj, this problem and this problem occurred, how can I solve it, or can you solve it, or whatever? Or are we, taking a humble position and trying to see what I should change in my perspective? I should change, because it's about you. Bhakti is about you changing. It's not about you changing the world. It's about you changing your perspective. So how often do we do that? Or do we do that? Or do we say, okay, I'm the bhakt, I'm chanting, I have my tilak, I have my dhoti or my sari, and this person is wrong, so I will report that person to whatever, and that person should change. That's one way of doing it. But it would be better for your ashray process to do it differently. Because we all know that the mind is continuously accepting and rejecting. If you reject something, Gita Govinda is walking like this, I reject her way of walking. Where does it go? It still stays in creation. It still stays in sight. It still stays. So rejecting doesn't mean it will not appear anymore. Rejecting means that you have a negative relationship with that topic, subject, person, whatever situation. So it's still a relationship. So bhakti means that we should look from a different perspective, from Krishna's perspective, that it is perfect for us, that it is powerful for you, that it is helping you. That is bhakti, that is Krishna consciousness. So I had written some other things, but I think this is it for now. Any questions? Was it so shocking? Yes.
I think he's getting the mic. I can speak loud, but I don't want to impress him. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your.
How do you put down here? Something here?
Are you speaking?
Haribo. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful class, very practical. You know what I like? I like a lot of points of your class, but the thing which really, how do you say, which really not struck me with wonder, but which really impressed me is the fact that you said, stop, actually you mean stop, your happiness cannot depend on someone else, on other things, on externals. And it's very important because at a certain moment, it will influence you in such a way that your whole constitutional, the ananda which is already there, get totally distorted. So a lot of people, I have a friend, a nice woman, very nice, and constantly she's telling me, I'm not happy because I have to marry, and I want somebody, I want a guy, I want this. And I told her so many times, really, why is your happiness depending on the other, on having a husband or having this or that or that? Try to cultivate the happiness innerly. And that's something which is actually quite difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it is not impossible.
Yes.
And actually there is no other way. Imagine if you have someone, if you are someone like that, you know, you're unhappy, I want to get married, I don't feel loved, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. Even though there is some potential candidate, you don't want to have someone like that connected to you. You know, it is draining your energy, and that's why we feel that people are sometimes draining your energy, because we have all the potential. Every living entity is a part and parcel of God, has that ananda in them. So one thing is to understand, the other thing is to practice. By practicing, I can talk a lot about swimming, but if you don't practice, what will happen? You drown. So practice. We all practice in life, because everything we do in life is to become happy. Even though we are not in bhakti, you know, you want to get food to become happy, you want to, you know, go to school so that you will become happy. When you have your diploma, or you have a job, you have income, you become happy, blah, blah, blah. So there is this already going on in us. This connection that we are looking for, the happiness. Because we know that that is the only guiding factor, the only guide in our life that will keep us sane, that will keep us actually in our human, civilized human position. You can be human, but not yet civilized, but civilized human. We want to be civilized human. That's why we are endeavoring so much to become happy. And that happiness is actually the connection that we have with Krishna. We feel that automatically. That's why we want everything, you know, we do so many things to become happy. But we have a whole different story around it. That person should behave in such a way, then I will be happy. That's so weak. That situation should change, then I will be happy. No, Krishna never said that. Krishna said, you know, just surrender unto me. Everything is already done. What should happen will happen. Don't worry. Don't worry, be happy. But still, we like to worry because we feel separated. And we have to practice to lose that separation, to feel that connection. So we practice. And Prabhupada gave us this wonderful process, you know, sadhu sangha. To learn Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, we have to learn, we have to get the knowledge, we have to associate, and we have to understand, we have to reflect. Not to reflect on person's character, but to reflect on my character. Hey, I still wasn't able to choose for that ananda in myself. I need to choose more and more and more and more for this ananda, because I have that. It's not that it is out there, it's here. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Prabhupada gives a nice example about a tree, watering the tree.
Yes.
The love, the roots is Krishna. That's the love, full ananda.
Yeah.
And you can water the roots. Either you can water the branches and the leaves,
Exactly.
which represent your family, your boss, your dog, and etc. etc. So you can do that and water them. If they're not, they will never be thankful, grateful. There's always half or not perfect. So if you water the roots, and automatically this love, Krishna, will water all the other relationships with love. So I like your point very much. It's if you focus on that, don't worry. You do your best. You focus on him. And Krishna makes all the other relationships
Exactly.
loving relationships. So in that sense, I like your point very much.
And there is a popular saying, follow your bliss. It has a different connotation, but we can give it the right connotation, the only connotation that there is, and that we should follow the bliss because it connects us with Krishna, our true identity. And if we follow that pure bliss, not the material bliss, money bliss, hanging around, doing nothing, and so on bliss, that is not the connected with Krishna bliss. But if we do the right bliss, we will automatically be in our own integrity, in our own values, because you cannot be connected with Krishna and not be connected with your integrity, with your values, with the integral role that you have with others, with your family, with your wherever you are, with the devotee community. The integrity maintains, and becomes a platform for your value, your higher consciousness, your Krishna consciousness. Yes?
So I don't know if I formulated my question properly, but you said that that we have to flip our perspective, and instead of thinking they have to change, that I have to change. So in a situation where like you don't like something and like maybe you're not feeling happy, then putting it on yourself that actually it's my fault, doesn't that lead to more unhappiness, or is that not the point?
Like, if you say I don't like, what example would you give in that sentence? I don't like.
Like, I don't like, well, I don't like the situation I'm in, or like, the situation you're in is giving you unhappiness.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and maybe blaming it on yourself, maybe you can.
Yes. So the definition, before you make the definition, this is not a nice situation. Before you define it not nice, before you come to that conclusion, not nice, you change your perspective. Why is it still nice? Because Krishna has created it. Krishna is loving me. There is, doesn't hate me. He will not punish me. He's not, a vindictive God. So why is it still good? Because my perspective, after, at this time in my life, my conclusion is that actually the whole material situation has no meaning. We give it a meaning. From your perspective, a certain situation has a label. It's not nice. But from someone else's point, it can be nice, you see? So it depends on your labeling, on your perspective. So Krishna is Om Purnam, he is complete, everything is complete, everything is perfect. So if Krishna is perfect, and we have read it here, Krishna in the same way is the cause of all causes, of all incarnations, and please hear another, and so on. So he is the cause of all causes. So why did Krishna create this? How can I look from his perspective? And when you do that, you start your Krishna consciousness on a different level. It's difficult, it's not easy, but it is possible. So that is what I'm saying. Even there is war now going on. We can say, well, how is it then still good? Because, war is bad. But how is it then still good? Why do you think? Maybe you can, or maybe you have also asked that question yourself, so I'm interested to your perspective.
Because it's necessary to correct us, to give us the right understanding what is good and not good. So, misery has a function. It is there because Krishna is the source of everything. Therefore, and whatever Krishna does or makes or creates is complete. So this completeness of the duality of the material world is a certain way of correcting the deluded soul.
Yeah. As long as we have not learned how to deal with each other in a human civilized way, there will be wars. These wars are, just like Prabhu said, teaching us that these are results that are still in our possibility. That means that we have not yet evolved, we have not yet learned. What are we doing? Instead of learning from it, we are bringing that war inside. We have discussions. Who is wrong? Israel or this country or that country or that country? And that leader shouldn't do that and that leader shouldn't do that. Look at your own. What are you doing? As long as you are experiencing war, that means that there is a possibility in you, a perspective in you that needs to change. Because we are not yet there in our dealings with others that we are aggression-free or confronting free. We have not yet understood the message. So these jivas that are participating there, they are giving us a message. Learn from them. And hopefully, their sacrifices we can, integrate to a higher consciousness and not bring the war inside the homes here in Belgium or wherever you're living. So yeah, very good answer, probably. Is that okay for you? Thank you. Yeah.
In the beginning of the lecture, you said it that asking these questions like why does Krishna create wars, that it separates us from Krishna, and well, it's also putting the responsibility on Krishna, because in the spiritual world there are no wars, there is no fear, everything is Satchitananda. So if we follow our inner nature, then there isn't no such thing as wars. But many people, especially atheistic people, try to say that, then if there is God, why is there so much misery? But it's freedom of choice, and freedom of choice is a sign of love. So we can choose either to love Krishna, or we can choose to be self-centered and not serve Krishna. And
Exactly.
as a result of that, many horrible things happen in the world, and we are therefore stuck in this material world.
Yeah, and we have to learn, try to see Krishna's love still in it. Even though it is horrible, why is it still perfect? Because Om Purnamada, it is Purnam. Why is it still perfect? Perfect means there is no fault, there is no mistake. So why is it still a mistake? So you have the potency, the capacity to give meaning. So change your perspective to get the right meaning, to get the meaning that Krishna intended you to have in order to be more Krishna conscious and not other things conscious. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for listening attentively. And thank you for this opportunity. So, Srimad Bhagavat, no, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Thakur.